Way back in 2005, two brothers set off on a road trip that would save the world and change television.
Those beefy Hemsworth boys?
Not the Hemsworths. How many times do I have to say it? For 15 seasons and 327 episodes, Supernatural took audiences on a wild ride of family, fate, and faith with a rocking soundtrack and a seriously cool car.
But that was then, Bobo, and this is now. And yes, the show has quote-unquote ended, but we're not quite done with the journey.
No, we're not.
And that's why we're watching it all over again, or for Rob and me, for the first time.
That's right.
Diving deep into every episode of Supernatural with the fine folks who made it. And we're taking you along for the ride.
Whether you like it or not. I'm Rob Benedict. I played Chuck Shirley, a.k.a. God.
Spoiler.
Yeah, it is a bit of a spoiler, but hey, spoilers are fair game here.
Fine. And I'm Richard Speight Jr., and I played the Trickster, also known as the Archangel Gabriel, and I did a little bit of Loki work in there.
Okay, you know we're running out of time.
Okay, well, we'll be talking about the entire series, so whatever we say, accept it. You've been warned.
So buckle up and settle in.
Because this, my friend, is Supernatural, then and now.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Benedict.
And I'm Richard Speight Jr.
Before we get into things, I just want to remind everyone to subscribe or follow us. We're on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen, and you'll be notified when a new episode drops.
That way you don't have to wait around, Robbie. Everybody can listen. The moment this drops, you're hearing it fresh from the oven. It's still steaming, and you're listening to it.
That's right. And today, we're going to be talking about episode 21 of season 1. We're almost to the end.
It's called Salvation, Robert.
It is called Salvation. It's the penultimate episode.
Did you call it the Bent Ultimate?
It's the Bent Ultimate. It's the Ben Edlund episode. No, it's the penultimate episode of Supernatural season 1.
Yeah, man. Big deal. Penultimate, by the way, for those who don't know, because I didn't know for a long time, second to last.
That's right.
Yeah.
The episode opens with Meg.
Which doesn't make sense to me because when you think pentagram, it's like 5-sided, like the Pentagon, 5-sided. Why is penultimate? Why isn't it the fifth to last episode?
Well, let's research it and do a whole episode on that.
All right. Listen, when you take that tone, it doesn't make me want to research and do anything with you, but get up and leave.
So this episode opens with Meg paying Pastor Jim a visit.
Oh, the old paying Pastor Jim a visit, in air quotes.
And good old Pastor Jim. Who? I don't know. We're just meeting him for the first time.
There's nothing that sounds dirtier than the name Pastor Jim. By the way.
It's true. Then Meg kills him when he won't say anything about the location of the Winchesters.
Well, good for him for being tight-lipped.
Yeah, true. He was a good friend of John and a total stranger to us. But John and his sons, Sam and Dean, follow clues and signs of demons to Salvation, Iowa.
That's where they got the title of the episode, I bet.
That's right. It's a double, the old double,
It's not a double entendre.
No.
No, that's
double meaning.
That'd be like if they went to Penis, Nebraska or something.
It's an episode in season 17. There, Sam has a vision of a woman being attacked by demons. Meg, meanwhile, kills Caleb, another friend of John's that we've never met. We have no idea who this is.
No emotional attachment to whatsoever.
No. But she's going to kill everyone John knows until she gets the Colt.
I do love, and God bless them, they all do a great job, but they're like, Caleb, not Caleb.
Yeah. The Colt, of course, is the gun that they can use to kill the demon, and that's why the demon wants it back.
Right.
So John just wants it to end.
He's tired of his friends getting snuffed out, Robert.
Yeah, these two men who meant nothing to us are a big deal for John.
Caleb!
Yeah, it's Caleb.
For God's sake.
Pastor Jim.
What?
John wants it to end, so he gets a fake Colt and meets Meg and Tom.
Which is called a Folt. F-A-U.
By no fault of his own. That's right. He's going to try to use a fake Colt to make a deal with Meg and Tom, a new demon. So Tom takes the gun and shoots Meg, testing it if it's real.
That's how they know it's a Folt.
That's right. That's when he knows it's a Folt. So John escapes, but meanwhile, Sam and Dean rescue the family from Sam's vision, but the demon gets away. So this family is safe and the baby and everything, but the demon gets away. Tom and Meg catch up to John. Sam and Dean argue discussing saving Dad versus killing the demon. Dean calls John, but Meg answers.
Oh.
Yeah. And she threatens that they'll never see their father again.
Oh,
cliffhanger.
No, I don't. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Cliffhanger, really setting us up for the season finale.
Yeah, dude.
So this is part 2 in what we call the epic trilogy of episodes.
We do?
Yeah. So what do you think, Richard Speight?
I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. Again, I just going to say the same thing I said many, many times. I really didn't realize how much Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in this show. Like he's in a lot of episodes of this show.
Yeah.
And like, it's almost like a 3-man cast there, season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a big role.
Yeah.
I really just thought he popped in for the pilot and then came back in season 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is all new to me. Interesting. I think it's great. I think the story is interesting. The sort of, I mean, look, when he turns into the fake cult, the Folt, that he's going to get busted. Like, there's a couple of things that aren't really surprises.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's just the nature of building this up for the finale.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool the way Sam's visions play out and how Dad has to come to grips with the fact that his son has that skill or curse, however you say it, and that she ends up on the ceiling and it emulates everything they know to be the demon's behavior. So there's a lot that's cool there.
Hopping in on what you're saying about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I knew he was in a little bit more of it. Maybe not to this extent, but I wondered if there was ever a point where Kripke was going, this is going to be the show. It's father and sons as a sort of a superhero trio, or if he always knew he was going to kill Dad off.
I'm going to guess, and I don't know. We can ask Kripke someday when we get him on the show, but I bet he knew he was going to kill him off.
Yeah.
Because it feels like that really fuels the boy's journey, like looking for Dad. That's why I thought Jeffrey wasn't in the show that much.
Right.
Because I thought, well, the part of the biblical element of this show is the search for father that also drives.
Sure.
They have Dad's journal. They
ultimately God.
Right. Exactly. Emulating a dad's journey. And so I bet this is all very on purpose.
Yeah. And I say that not really even knowing the Dad's going to die, but I assume that he doesn't make it for long.
Either that or the contract negotiations for season 2 were a bear and Jeffrey just was not affordable anymore.
But yeah, I mean, I liked it too. I liked the episode. I like that John's kind of like Batman. He's he's got no superpowers, but he's always kind of 2 steps ahead. I like that it's a cliffhanger.
But didn't you think it was kind of dumb that he went in with the fake gun? Like we all know he's going to get busted. Granted, he had a fire hydrant of holy water that he was able to turn on the bad guys.
That's true. Look, it's supernatural. Like you have a little bit of you let go of some of that, the disbelief, the web of disbelief. These are guys that use fake badges to get into hospitals. You know what I mean? Like, you are a doctor.
You're a doctor with fabulous hair and about 9 years too young to have finished medical school.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, didn't you think it was weird that Meg was like, "Oh, you shot me"? Like she's a demon. She wouldn't give a she wouldn't care. Like her physical body, she fell 7 stories and landed on pavement and hopped up Wilson Zippity Doodah.
Right.
Like, why does she care that Tom shoots her?
Yeah, maybe just for effect because it didn't do anything.
Right. But you think like physically, she's not going to experience pain really.
That's true.
She gets the snot knocked out of her a bunch and doesn't seem to care.
That's true. I really liked this showdown with John and Meg. I thought that was it's good.
Nikki Cox is always great.
She's great. She's so great.
Yeah. So then you have her and you have Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's always great, and then the actor playing Tom. But you have they're all great, and the 2, Nikki and Jeffrey, were great adversaries for each other. I thought one thing was kind of funny that I laughed at, very Vancouver moment. Sam and Dean are over by their car talking to Dad. I think it's when Dad is saying, "Oh man, they just killed Pastor Jim. They killed my buddies." And he's having the story. And he's soaking wet. And on the reverse, those boys are bone dry.
I did not notice.
And you come back, and then over the shoulder, he's bone dry. Like, so you see the back of Dad, kind of like bone dry. You're like, bone dry, soaking wet. Bone dry, close up, soaking wet, close up. Bone dry over the shoulder. And it was really funny to me. I'm like, I don't know if it's because like the wind was blowing, they had a big screen over the boys, which they do in Vancouver. It's called a fly swatter, a big thing they hold over them to keep them from getting wet. And Jeffrey Dean was like, I don't want a fly swatter. Get that thing out of here. I mean, wet.
It's going to be an ongoing joke with us because it's not like this. It's not like, it was just a rainy season in 2006.
Vancouver.
No, it was Vancouver. I mean, I several of my episodes, we had to deal with that. And I know Rich, I'm sure.
Oh, I just feel like I'm joking about Jeffrey not wanting the fly swatter. It's just the nature of working there.
Well, people talk about Baby being the one of the leads of the show. I think the Vancouver Rain should also get.
Yeah, Baby, for those who don't know, is the nickname for the car. And yes, you're not wrong. The Rain is really what do you call it? The fifth man, so to speak. Yeah,
they should be getting their photo ops with the Rain.
What do they call it? Is it the sixth man? Like in basketball, the sixth man is the crowd. Yeah. Sixth man is the Rain. You're right.
Yeah.
So facial hair wise, I'm going to give it. It's not getting a full beard out of me. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Okay.
I'm going to go. I think it was really good. I think it's a good setup for the finale, and I think it's a good follow up from the previous one. Mm-hmm. I think it's a piece of connective tissue episode. That's connecting the third to last with the finale. So I'm going to give it a full Van Dyke, which is the mustache and the goatee, but no sideburns. I'm not giving it a full beard.
Okay. I will give it, I'll give it a beard that's being grown out, but it's not there yet. Where you're like, is that a beard?
Oh, the George Michael.
Not that well groomed.
Okay, so
like an ungroomed on its way to becoming a full beard.
Okay, so that would be, there's got to be somebody. The Don Johnson?
Yeah, or like me when I'm in between clean shaven.
But we can't use you as the beard measurement.
Now, Don Johnson's a bad example. Again, both of those men are very well groomed. This would be just like, it's like your buddy.
Right, somebody growing out a beard.
Yeah, growing out a beard.
All right, we're going to go new growth.
New growth.
We're going to call it a new growth beard.
New growth. We've got an exciting guest star today. She played on Supernatural. She played Monica Holt, who was the woman that Sam saw in his visions, who has the baby, who's on the burning on the ceiling, and then gets rescued from the demon.
Right.
But I know her because she played my wife on Criminal Minds Beyond Borders.
Oh my!
Which I did an episode I did with Richard Speight Jr.
I was in that episode.
Yeah.
I died.
He died. And then Erin, the actress, and I gave birth on screen to a baby that I named after Richard's character.
And what did you guys do in the show?
And then on the show, she also gave birth. She's also been in so many things. Nancy Drew, 911, CSI, Dark Angel. She's currently recurring in A Million Little Things on ABC.
What a career. What an actress. What a human being. We're so glad to have her. Erin Karpluk.
Aw, lovely intro. Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
So great to see you. You haven't aged a day. You really look exactly like you did in 1990, 2006, whenever this was.
You really took it back a decade.
You and a Zoom filter. Bless the Zoom filters.
First of all, you do look great. Secondly, Rob's ability to count backwards on a Gregorian calendar needs some work. In 1984, you haven't changed it.
1836. But I have to say, first of all, so I'm watching this. We're watching it for the first time.
First time.
So I'm watching the episode, and I'm like, I know her. I worked with her. That's Erin. She played my wife on an episode of Criminal Minds that Rich was also in.
Yeah,
I know.
It was like this, like, oh my God, that's Erin. Because I remember you saying. So just to catch everyone up, we did an episode of Criminal Minds Beyond Borders.
Mm-hmm.
Rich and I played partners. Rich died. Erin's my wife. You give birth. I named the baby after Rich, whose name is Robbie, which is very confusing. But I remember you telling me on set that you had done one or two Supernatural, and then here you are. Here I am watching you on a very exciting episode of the show.
Very.
Towards the end of season one.
Season one.
How well do you remember that experience?
Oh my God. First of all, what a small world, because I remember you guys being on set. That Criminal Minds, you got to do the fun stuff. I just got to cry and give birth. And sob my face off.
Yeah,
but
you actually had a
still fun. It's funny because I was listening to one of your podcasts before this and doing Salvation. So I did Salvation season 1, and then I did Bad Boys season 9 of Supernatural, because this show ran for so long that they started reusing actresses. And I guess the fans just were like, okay, with me coming back as a completely different character. And it was kind of cool to like go back and see Jensen and Jared 9 seasons later and play a different part. And it's funny because they didn't change at all. They got married, they had children. We were all, 9 seasons go by, but they were the same. And then doing season 1, what I do remember about the first one is I just worked with Jensen on Dark Angel. So it was kind of like I was just starting acting, and I'm going to name drop here. James Cameron cast me in the final episode of Dark Angel, and it was the series finale. And they had stunt casted Brandy, the singer, who was pregnant, and she must have fell through on a Friday. I had a last minute audition, went in, got the part. And then I show up on Monday with like Jessica Alba and James Cameron. And that's when I first met Jensen. And like the first day I met him, he hasn't changed at all. And all the episodes I did of Supernatural, 10 years go by, all their fame and having a family stuff, he never changed. And it was like, the guys were so fun. And I remember that episode because it dominated my reel, because it was kind of my first big thing. So Jensen was on a lot of my reel for many years. Between, Dark Angel and Supernatural. So.
Wow. That's great. Yeah. And he's a great dude. And it's no surprise that he was that nice Texan boy even early.
And best plastic surgeon in the business. Physically, he just doesn't look at all. You can't tell that's a toupee. I mean, I challenge anybody.
No, you really can't.
And Jared too, because I'd worked with Jensen, and then I showed up on set and it like hanging from the ceiling. My first day, I'm like, my stomach's ripped open. They had me on an apparatus. I'm on the ceiling. And that's when I first met Jared. He comes on set and he looked up, he's like, hey. And I was like, hey. And I have like, I'm just hanging there from like, I don't know what apparatus they had and my little nightgown staring down at him. And I remember the first thing I looked at him, I was like, you're really tall. And they were, I mean, they're both
because you're on the ceiling and you were actually face to face.
Yeah, I mean, he was that tall. I was like, oh, wow.
You actually, this is, we can get to this because, in the earlier episodes, the other actors who were on the ceiling, they faked it. They weren't really up on the ceiling. So you were the first actress to be on the real ceiling, which means you're the first person to ever really see Jared's bald spot, which is significant, but no one ever sees it because of his height.
That's right.
But it's pretty Benedictine monk. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing going on up top. But I know you've had to sign an NDA and can't talk about it. So tell me about you being on, like right now you've opened the door to this conversation about being on the ceiling. Mm-hmm. How was that? Because I was going to ask, was it fake or real? And now I'm finding out it was real. That had to be uncomfortable to be hoisted up there.
Honestly, I love that stuff. And I remember doing the audition. Like, I'm the kind of girl, I'm going to go for it. Like, I'm not going to shy away from doing weird things. Like if they have you, like, so for the audition, I go to my baby and my baby's in the crib. It's scary. And I'm like, where's the baby? And then all of a sudden I get sucked into the wall, hoisted up the wall by an invisible entity. And then my stomach is kind of ripped open and there's a fire. And so this is in the audition. And I feel like some actors might look at this and be like, well, for goodness sake, how am I going to do this in a room? But for me, it was Corinne and Heike cast it. So they were sitting at the back of the room on a sofa and my reader is closer to me and the camera's recording it. So when it comes to the point of the audition where I get sucked into the wall, guys, this girl went for it. I slammed myself against the back of the taping studio, like almost winded myself, then kind of like jiggled like Raggedy Ann, like propelling myself up the wall, like making all the weird noises, saying my lines. And the reader, so Corinne and Heike were the casting directors, they couldn't see the reader's face, but the reader started laughing.
Oh my God.
As I'm like giving my Oscar performance, I guess Emmy performance here, and like really going for it and like shaking and like almost passing out because I'm breathing so hard. And the reader is like laughing and I'm trying to say my lines to her. And the audition finishes and I leave and I was like, okay, either that was the most embarrassing thing I ever did in my life or like I'm getting this part. Anyways, it worked out well because I ended up, sometimes going for it really pays and sometimes the casting directors are just like, okay, let's just, let's tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, go big or go home, I say. So anyways.
Just hold that thought. We're coming right back.
Hey, this is Richard Speight. You know what? It's 2024. It's a brand new year, and I bet you made some New Year's resolutions, and I bet one of them was to eat healthier. Well, you can get cranking on that resolution right now, my friend, with Factor. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, the prep work, the cooking fatigue. I'm getting tired just talking about it. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you will have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart this resolution off right. Forget frantic lunch prep and rush dinner making. That stinks. Factor's 2-minute meals, yes, I said 2 minutes, are your secret weapon in the new year. You get to fuel up fast with restaurant-quality meals all delivered right to your door. It doesn't get any easier than that. And Factor now offers loads of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep you going no matter what's on the schedule. So I know what you're asking, Rich, how do I tap into this Factor magic? You head to factormeals.com/SPNTAN50 and use code SPNTAN50 to get 50% off. That's a lot off. That's code SPNTAN50 at factormeals.com/SPNTAN50 for 50% off. Make that resolution happen now and make it happen at a discount. Fantastic food that's healthy and delicious and delivered right to my door. Now that is how you start the new year off right.
Thank you for supporting Supernatural then and now. And now, back to the show.
For the wall shot, did they do because we worked on the show enough to know that sometimes they do a physical pull, like a wire gag, boom, or were you self-propelled into the wall?
I think that I self-propelled myself. It wasn't like, and then they can speed it up. I feel digitally, but then when I actually go up the wall, they kind of had like I just remember like I was wearing this horrific nightgown because it was the only thing they could get doubles on and was loose enough for all the gidgets to go on my waist to pull me up, kind of like a crane.
Right.
So it was like, it was horrific. It was like a super kind of grandma nightie. And here I am with like Jensen and Jared, and they're gorgeous. And we have to run out of the house at the end. There's a huge explosion.
And they're wearing their nice nighties,
and they're in their gorgeous nighties, and I'm in a grandma nightie. And I remember, like, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but they do save me. I'm off the harness, and they have a house in North Vancouver, and the entire top of it they built, and they blew it up. This is I guess the budget that we have in this. So I'm under.
Wow.
I'm under like on the real floor with Jensen, with Jared in my horrific yellow nightie, and I'm in bare feet. And so the stunts people, they put like kind of Frodo webbed moleskin on my feet. So I had these kind of pads so I wouldn't step on glass. So I'm in this like Sears nightgown that's like pale yellow, way too big for me, and these Frodo Lord of the Rings little foot things, and I'm with like gorgeous Jarrett and Jensen, and they explode the house. We go running out, and the guys were great. I was like in a sandwich with them, and they kind of like lifted me up and hoisted me out in this nightie. But I remember thinking like, why am I wearing this? Why am I wearing this? But it was to accommodate the stunts and me getting up, and I probably spent the majority of the day up on the ceiling. So I wasn't drinking. I was not drinking a lot of water, because we were stuck up there. Yeah, you got to think about those things too, right?
Right. And then they put in the fire later.
The fire for the room they put in later, but for the actual explosion, because I think it mimics, is it how his Adrian died or his mom died?
Yeah, Adrian and his mom.
Yeah, the fire, not the house exploding, but the fire that goes over the ceiling mimics how mom and
his girlfriend, Adrian.
Jessica.
Adrian's the actress. Jessica, yeah.
And this is him being able to save me, and kind of like from that demon. So the fire within the room, we didn't have a fire in that room, but they actually, as we're running out, the top of this house, they built a fake top of the house and exploded it, and we ran out the bottom. It was pretty incredible. This is in North Vancouver, and I remember looking at the guys and being like, "This is just a Tuesday afternoon for you, where we buy a house and exploded." And yeah, it was really cool. Like that was one of my first big jobs. And I remember thinking like, this is the best.
Would they do that later on? I mean, I feel like that must be a season 1 thing.
Well, I think you wouldn't need to now. They can CGI the fire, but we've now learned. So in the pilot, Jared told the story about, this room being on fire, and he, the actor, ran into the room on fire to get his actress out, who was also in the room on fire. And they're like, they would never do that now.
Yeah.
And the fact they blew up that building, I was certain, and I've been wrong before, but watching the episode, that was real fire. I'm like, that's a real explosion. Also, because they have 4 cameras on it, they keep cutting to it. I'm like, they're really maximizing this explosion.
Yeah.
It's like boom, 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 boom. It looked awesome, but like I don't think that would be something they would do now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the neighborhood in North Van would okay it even,
Right.
After all this time, probably not. And the insurance on the actors alone, you'd think would be it'd be pretty crazy. Yeah.
So Erin, when we first see you in the episode, you're walking in the street with your baby, and a strange, very tall, good-looking man comes up to you, says, "I'm new to I'm your neighbor." It's very creepy, and you talk to him because you're a nice woman, but I would be like, run.
I was literally like, grip your mace, woman. You don't know what this guy's up to.
But you have an umbrella because it's raining. Was that planned, or was that just Vancouver being Vancouver?
That was Vancouver being Vancouver, because I feel like in this scene it didn't serve a purpose per se. Yeah. So I think it was just the hair department being like, "Yo, that took us 45 minutes. Give the actress an umbrella."
Yeah. We find that happens a lot. We're noticing in season 1, there's a lot of Vancouver being Vancouver. Just scenes where it just happens to be raining and mud everywhere, and people having to get through that.
It's very Vancouver. They're like, "Man, this desert heat." Meanwhile, they're sloshing through the mud.
Exactly.
I listened to your podcast with Julie talking, and she's like, "The guys look great when it's raining. The guys don't need an umbrella, but with the girls and your makeup and your hair, it's all, sometimes it works, but the majority of the time you're like, let's just let's get an umbrella.
Yeah. Well, and the episode she's referring to specifically was a deluge.
Yeah.
Like every scene was a mud bog.
Yeah.
So real quickly, just one other follow-up on the ceiling gag. You heard about being, having the gut wound. Obviously, they made the dress all red. There were some drops going off in the show. Was this stuff dripping off you, or was that visual effect?
Oh no, they'll have like, I don't know that we went as far as like having a squib type thing, but there was definitely a lot of fake blood in there dripping off. Wow. And it's like oh my goodness, what is the name? It's like sugary, it's like syrupy, and it's very sticky. So, working with that kind of blood. So after the show, you definitely you jump in the little trailer showers and you rinse it off. But they went for it. Yeah, that was not special effects.
Did you know that you were emulating an event that had happened in other episodes of the show?
Yes.
Did you know that because you knew it, or did they tell you and tell you to watch the episodes? I mean, how are you brought up to speed? Is that something you had you already watched the show, or what?
I did watch the show when I got and I was excited to see Jensen again because we literally just finished Dark Angel and this was his next show. And like Dark Angel, we had so much fun. We would I was a guest star. Jensen's character and Kevin Durand, who played the dog guy in it, and I just ran around for 17 days and I was fake pregnant in the show and we had so much fun. And then I was like, oh, Jensen's new show, and booked it. So yes, I did do some research, and they let us know, I believe, in the breakdown for the audition that this was kind of mimicking what had happened to their mother. So it was a big deal for the guys to save me.
Right.
So, so therefore my relationship with my child and stuff, I wanted it to kind of really resonate so that it resonated with the guys. And then the fans could kind of see this like kind of full circle of the guys coming in. Cause I think it offered them an opportunity to not make amends, but have some form of peace of getting vindication on that demon potentially. Yeah. So, yeah. And in this one, it was very kind of a neutral character. It was all very sweet. Because in the second episode I played one of Jensen's ex-girlfriends, and there was a little bit of that like romantic in it. So in Salvation, it was kind of nice because it was just really sweet. And the guys come in and they save me and they save my baby. And I mean, it was a lot of fun working on that show. The crew's phenomenal. And like I said, when I went on 9 seasons later as a different character, it was like no time had passed. I rolled into the trailer and they're like, hey, Karpluk. And I was like, hey guys. And then out we were. And this one was like working with a ghost and all kinds of stuff. And like, it was like no time had passed. They were there was no ego with them. They were just like the same dudes doing the same things, super humble, awesome. Great with the crew and, telling more stories. It was really fun.
Now, are you Vancouver born and bred?
I am Alberta born and bred. And then I lived in Vancouver for 10 years. And then I shot a show called Being Erica in Toronto, which is where I am right now, for 4 years. And then I moved to Los Angeles for 10 years. And then the pandemic brought me back to Alberta for that summer. And then all last year I was working in Vancouver and Toronto. And then I'm currently working in Toronto, but I'm actually going back to Los Angeles this week.
Okay. So you are on the road, Robbie.
Yeah.
Wow. I kind of love it. I go wherever life takes me. Mostly work guides that. And then I'm pretty lucky that I have communities in Toronto, Vancouver, and Jasper and Los Angeles. So wherever I go, I get to see friends and do my little hikes and different things. It's kind of, I'm very grateful for my life. I've always wanted it to be this way. So yeah.
So being Canadian and knowing a lot of people in the Vancouver community, it's a pretty tight community, right? Like actors all kind of know each other.
Totally. Even on the podcast, you guys talking about different things. And I creeped you a bit on IMDb. I know we played husband and wife and this, but I was like, wait a minute, you're the angel and God. I'm like, what was Tomo on the show? Because Tomo Pennicott and I are really good friends.
Oh, great.
Love Tomo.
Love him.
And like all of my friends at one point or another have been on Supernatural. And so, yes, it is a very tight community, just to go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine even coming back 9 years later, seeing a lot of the same people. It must feel like old home. It felt like that to us, coming back to this set of Supernatural. It was like, oh, these are my friends, these people.
Totally.
So, yeah.
You know what character I felt bad for?
Who?
Her husband.
Yeah.
Not the guy. I'm sure the guy was great. But like, what a weird storyline. Like, these two hulking dudes come breaking in your house. Like,
he said, no, wait a minute.
We got an issue with your wife. You got a what now?
Who are you?
We need to get into her bedroom. You just stay here. Okay. Like,
it's like, you said my character would be super creeped out if like Jared approached her on the street. I was like, meh. Maybe she'd be really flattered. I don't know.
No, I think she'd be very flattered, but I do think that dad is going to be like,
yeah,
you got to trust me. We're going to get upstairs.
Yeah.
I know it's bedtime. That's perfect.
Even when Jared comes up to her on the street and she's like, I'm married. In fact, there's my husband. He just pulled in. I was like, I felt like it was a cry for help a little bit.
You know what I thought? I thought she was going to say, I'm married. That's my husband. But honestly, things are on the rocks right now. I'd love to talk about it over a Negroni.
I'm open.
Yeah. I feel like we're replaying the scene if you and I were playing Sam. Like, hi, is that your baby? Mace. Kick. 911.
Working with babies is always a bit of a challenge. Do you remember working with that baby? Was that a real baby?
Did that baby grow up to become Leonardo DiCaprio? That baby had a story?
Spoiler alert, that was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, I knew it. I could tell. Made such broad choices.
Wow.
Okay, so obviously being a female actress in my 40s now, I've worked with 5 million thousand babies. I'm trying to rewind to that. Did you not see a shot of a baby? It was a real baby, but obviously for the all the action stuff. I think when we come out of the house, is Jensen holding the baby? Or so it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
I just watched it, but I don't remember.
I know that we did have a real baby in the nursery, I believe, but not for all the action stuff. And then I find working with babies on set, because I recently gave birth I've given birth to, I don't have children in real life, but let me tell you, I've got hundreds of fake kids out in the TV world.
Yeah. We have a fake baby.
Oh, that's right. Of course we did on Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Fake babies. And I was crying the whole time. My goodness. Yeah. Sometimes it's wonderful because I do love a little baby, but it's great. They normally hire sets of twins or triplets so that if one baby gets a little bit ornery or needs a moment, you can pull in the other one that's just been drugged off of mom's milk and is ready for a little close up. And I think it's great. I think it's really sweet. I love watching all the grips and all the big dudes on set just get super, super quiet when the baby's coming on set and stuff. And it's just it's the one moment on set where everyone just gets really quiet and it's just kind of magical to have babies on set. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have on our list of questions, in order, it says working with babies, working with Jared and Jensen. I feel like those are interchangeable questions.
Yeah. And the answer is I've worked with lots of Jensen and Jareds, but
sometimes they have doubles of Jensen and Jared.
And the crew gets real quiet.
Yeah, because when they get cranky, you want to swap them out for somebody else. When Jensen gets real cranky, boom, there's Chad Michael Murray. And just bring him in.
Be great.
Jared Leto, poof, he's right there. I'm glad it was a good experience. It sounds like it was beyond your situation. Seems like it was even better than normal because you already had a relationship with Jensen, and you were new to the Vancouver scene, so you say. But did you know crew people on that? Because it's all Vancouver-based crew. Were there any familiar faces on the crew at that point?
Oh, at that point, perhaps not. I feel like because I don't think we had any changeover from Dark Angel to Supernatural. Jensen would probably know crew-wise, but I know I just finished A Million Little Things, and there was some Supernatural crew that were on A Million Little Things, and every time I go back, it's you're always like, oh my gosh, what did we work on? A lot of the, whatever, catering, wardrobe, hair, makeup, this and that, because it is a small community, and we are really blessed to have such good crews in both Toronto and Vancouver. I've never worked on a show in Canada where I've been oh wow, this is not a great crew. Everyone brings their A game. It's really it's really strong stuff. And the only thing I will say is the catering in Vancouver is superior to Toronto. I find Toronto catering is not, because it's not off the truck. It's they have the food in a church or in a school or in a building they rent out. Oh. And it's on hot plates. Whereas in Vancouver, it's catering off the truck. So it's always super fresh.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, Toronto. She's just throwing down the gauntlet. The Vancouver-Toronto culinary wars begin right now here on our podcast. Supernatural Then and Now, the delicious episodes. The debate continues. All right, we'll have to have some.
I agree with her, but I've never worked in Toronto.
I've never worked in Toronto, so I can't speak to it.
But I do agree that food in Vancouver is fantastic.
Very, very good.
Yeah,
the crews are great.
Yeah, and that's important.
I mean, it's important. It's important.
It sure is. Right? Yeah. So important. We can't thank you enough for coming on and doing this interview. A, you're a delightful person. B, you and Robbie have a marriage that's just stood the test of time.
It really has. All these years.
We have a child named after you.
I know. Yeah. Well, weirdly, your child's named Robbie.
Yeah, which is my name, which is weird. It was always confusing. Rich and I are in this show, and his name was Robbie in the show.
Yeah. So I kind of
gosh.
feel like he was subterfuge. He acted like he was naming his baby after me.
It was really
It
myself,
was an
yeah.
ego trip to name his baby after himself. But regardless, great to see you again. You'll have to come back. You'll have to come back on and talk about your other episode.
We'll see you in 9 years.
No,
I
4
love
years.
it.
3
Love
years.
it. Love it.
We're doubling up, right?
Right, we're doubling up. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're lovely, and we love your work, and you're so busy, and we love that. And
The first actress on the ceiling. The first actress on the ceiling.
First actress on the ceiling. That's
We
right,
had 2
actually
other
on the
actresses pretend, but no, you did it.
No, I was
Guys,
watching
I'm
it.
so honored. Wow,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I was watching the episode, and I was like, oh my God, we have to get Erin on. Have to get you on. So
Yeah.
really glad.
Ah, thanks so much. I was really like that show. It's the one show people are like, oh my gosh, you're on Supernatural. Like it has such a huge fan base. Tomo, and like that was one thing I did notice between seasons 1 and season 9. Like Jared and Jensen reached so much fame.
Yeah.
But like seeing how they handled it, because I would drive to set and we'd be out in Langley somewhere, and there would be there was a bunch of women out there with these like crazy telescopic lenses ready to take photos. And I'm like, how did they get out here? And I was just watching how graceful the guys were and like their fan conventions and stuff of dealing with things. And then Tomo and I actually did a web series called Rift World, and Tomo reached out to them and he's like, hey guys, would you mind just like doing a plug for us? And I can't remember what day it was, but my phone blew up. I think they said something like, hey, Supernatural peeps, watch Erin and Tomo's thing. And my phone did not stop blinking for a week. It was like ping, ping, ding, ding. I couldn't like the amount of, anyways, all that to say, I was really proud to be on the show and be brought back and have that experience with the guys. And yeah. And to be able to work with that crew was really cool. And I'm glad that you guys are doing this. And thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's a fun return to the original beginnings and to revisit it either for the first time, if you're us, or for multiple times, if you're some of the fans. It's a great look back at a great show.
Yoo-hoo. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you so much for being here.
This is Jared Padalecki stopping in to say hi and let you know that we've got to take a quick break. Thanks for listening. Now, back to the episode.
Got to tell you, Robbie, I think that is a high watermark to be the first actress to be lit on fire who was actually on the ceiling.
Yeah. It's a very significant role for her to have.
Right.
A lot of people who come back on the show were like, oh yeah, I just played like the bus driver, but like she had sounds like 2 significant roles.
Yeah, and a lot of visual effects and special effects involved in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I'm right. I mean, right? Adrian or Sam Smith, they weren't on the ceiling. They were.
I don't
fake.
remember that, but I take your word for it.
I thought it was fake. I thought Ivan Hayden walked us through the fact that they shot the ceiling with the fire and that was upside down, and then they did the actress on the floor. And like,
Okay.
if I'm wrong, then egg on my face.
We'll have to ask Sam.
Yeah, so fun. What a delightful personality. She really threw down the gauntlet to the catering people of Toronto.
Oh man, I mean,
I would hate to be the man behind the spatula at the show she's about to go work on, knowing she's coming to set. You got to either A, raise your game, or B, put your hair in the right entree.
yeah, she better watch her step.
If you're like, going to sabotage her meal.
Nevertheless, great to see her and great to talk to her. All right, so let's get into the mythology of this episode.
Mythology.
So gross. All cultures have mythology about demons. Many cultures believe bad weather and disease are indicators that demons are present.
Mesopotamians believed when demons entered the body, it caused disease.
Egyptians believed certain types of demons, wanderers, entered the body to create nightmares, mental illness, and madness.
The ancient Japanese believed in a malicious demon named Fujin, whose presence caused high winds and bad weather.
And I believe in a demon named Kirk, who
What?
wears turtlenecks. And I don't know, it just was like Mesopotamians, Egyptians.
The people from Columbia, Missouri believe in a demon named Kirk, who always wore turtlenecks and jaywalked all over town.
That's right. Don't mess with Kirk. The ancient Greek word daemon denotes divine power, but not necessarily evil. The current English use of the word likely goes back to the 7th or 8th century.
Kind of makes me not want to trust any of my friends named Damon.
True. Good thing you don't know. Oh.
Wait a minute. In this episode, we really start to get a clearer sense that there is a hierarchy of demons in Supernatural. There are higher demons, like Meg, and, your favorite, Tom.
Old Tom.
And Yellow Eyes. And then there's the more monstrous demons, like the Devas in episode 16, Shadow.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
There's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
There's a caste system.
Yeah. And we don't know Yellow Eyes yet, really.
No. In fact, I'm reading this going, I would have thought Yellow Eyes is above these demons. I always felt like Meg and Tom are flunkies for Yellow Eyes.
Me too. I thought Meg's, yeah.
I don't think they're quite on Yellow Eyes level. In fact, I don't want to get any angry letters from the yellow-eyed community of demons. So please leave us be. We know you're higher ranking than Meg and Tom.
All respect to the yellow-eyed community. Fun facts!
Fun facts? Oh, man, fun facts.
This is the first episode to play the song Carry On Wayward Son during the Road So Far recap.
But hell if we know, because we watched it on Netflix.
Yeah, not for us.
It played Baby Shark during that sequence. This is the first episode to have to be continued at the end.
And after this, it was almost every episode.
Every episode.
Yeah. Meg tells John to meet her at a warehouse at the corner of Wabash and Lake. This is a Matrix reference. In the movie, the Heart of the City Hotel is located on Wabash and Lake.
No. The hotel John stays in, the Sleep Easy Motel, may be a reference to the Simpsons episode, The Cartridge Family. In it, Marge and the kids stay at a motel with the same name. Well, I guess that makes it a reference to The Simpsons.
Yeah. Writer Sarah Gamble says she wanted to see all the characters that were mentioned but hadn't been seen yet and kill them off. Enter Pastor Jim and Caleb.
God, it hurt to watch them go.
Yeah.
The Bible verse you see on the Salvation Town sign is fake. Are you ready for Judgment Day, JW227? Perhaps because it has the initial JW, it's meant for John Winchester.
That's right. It sounds like a pre-recorded when you're at a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. And happy birthday to Richard Speight. All right. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Said by a beaver playing the ukulele.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be sure you follow us on our new handle at Twitter and Instagram.
Yes. Take note. We have Trey put on the reverb. Our own designated Twitter and Instagram handle for the podcast. It's at SPN Then and Now.
That's right. And be sure to like us and to write us a good review on the iTunes or wherever you write reviews.
And follow and subscribe.
Well, this episode's Salvation stars Jared Padalecki as Sam Winchester and Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester.
Guest stars include Jeffrey Dean Morgan as John Winchester, Nikki Acox as Meg, Sebastian Spence as Tom, and Erin Karpluk as Monica Holt.
Co-stars include Richard Sally as Pastor Jim and John Blacker as Caleb. K.R. Anderson as Yellow Eyes.
Written by Sarah Gamble and Rael Tucker. Directed by Robert Singer.
Edited by David Ekstrom. Music by Christopher Leonards.
Executive produced by Bob Singer and Eric Kripke.
This episode originally aired on April 27th, 2006.
Birthday of the Machete.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. This episode of Supernatural Then and Now was hosted and executive produced by Richard Speight Jr. and Rob Benedict.
Produced by Stephen Hine. Written by Stephen Hine and Haida Holscher.
And edited and associate produced by Trey Boudet.
What's up, Boudet?
Music provided by Tim Wynn.
This episode was recorded with the help of Sonic Fuel Studios and Fartoon Studios.
This podcast is from Story Mill Media. It may very well be a reference to The Simpsons because it's exactly the same.
Yesterday, I was like, I'm a little person. He was like, I think that's reserved for actual dwarves. I don't think you can say that you're a little person. I was like, all right.
Wow, you're getting slammed.
What the am I then?
You're getting slammed talking about your own height.
What's wrong with me then?
I'm not a tall guy.
Exactly.
You're canceled because...
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, are you tall? No, but you can't say you're not tall.
You're vertically challenged.
Yeah, exactly.
Story Mill Media.